Right, so if we go back to the beginning in a way of I'm meeting Simon for the first time. Simon is somebody who's got quite a complex learning disability. It's not obvious whether he's on the autistic spectrum or not. I suspect he might have some sensory processing issues. Let's say Simon has also got a vision impairment. And I'm thinking, right, I want to use intensive interaction to make a connection with Simon. I'm not making any judgment about his inner world and saying it's not a good place to be. Basically what I'm saying to Simon is that you're such an interesting person. I want you to know that I've noticed what's going on for you. I want you to know that I've noticed you. Basically, I'm using intensive interaction to confirm, to help him have that sense of confirmation, which is one of the fundamental building blocks of his interest in the communicative world. So to start with, I'm watching Simon and seeing what he's doing to connect with himself. And it might even be something as simple as his breathing pattern or the fact that he's extending his tongue. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, where does he feel that? So I might be thinking, okay, what if I touch under his chin? Because if his tongue pointing, that's where he'll feel that. If I notice his breathing pattern, I might be thinking, how can I let him know that? Let's assume his hearing is okay. And so I'm just letting him know that I'm noticing that.
Or you might go,
yeah. Okay. He can't see me. I've given him a vision.
Oh, you're giving him a vision.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's say so. I'm letting him know I've noticed his breathing pattern. Well, that's what I was going to say, because what if when I get quite close and make my noise, he flinches? This gives me the idea that he doesn't like the auditory.
He might be hypersensitive to sound.
So then I'm going to use touch to celebrate that. I'm still going to carry on using the sound.
Celebrate.
Oh, did I say celebrate?
Yes.
Well, that's what I meant. Okay. Okay.
To give him the feedback, which is meaningful.
Yes, absolutely. It's meaningful, but I want it to be meaningful and interesting and accessible. And so to make it not just meaningful, but interesting and accessible, I might, like you say, if you could see me, I might be making it just a little bit clear for him to see that I'm actually doing something that's related to what he's doing. So that's why I
think you're more exuberant than I am.
I'm more jubilant.
Exuberant.
Exuberant.
Than I am. I just fall into the pattern of their being, basically.
Yeah. But I think there's a sliding scale of subtlety here. And for somebody who might be quite able intellectually, but their autism clouds that ability, and their sensory experience of the world clouds that even more, subtlety is more important than it is for Simon. Simon's sensory processing might be more influenced by his profound learning disability. I don't know. It's very difficult to tell whether he's also on the autistic spectrum. What he doesn't need from me is too much subtlety. He needs to know that, oh yeah, that's something to do with me. So I might be not jubilant or exuberant, but just a little bit more clear for him.
Basically, we're looking for something his brain will recognise.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll strip it of everything else.
Yeah.
I've got to give him a signal which his brain recognises without difficulty, and it can process straight away.
Absolutely.
It doesn't sort of raise the stress level.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I'll be looking for is what I'm doing going to raise the stress level or bring it down?
Yes. Yeah.
And you can tell that very easily by the quality of their response.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes that response is almost a ceasing of doing everything except breathing. To
just
think, what
attention.
was that? Yes. And you can see that person having that abstract experience of questioning.
Wow.
Yes. What was that? Yes. Yeah.
The brain is actually trying to work out what's happening out there, something which it recognises, whereas it's normally it's a shift, basically, from inner self-stimulation to this. It's something out there.
And so when you've got that astonishing mutual moment of, I think that's an incredibly important stage at which not to rush in with the entertainment.
Oh, absolutely.
So at that point, what I'm doing for Simon is letting him know that I've noticed his pause and his interest, and I'm holding that. What we tend to call it, us in a bus, is actively doing nothing. At that moment, I'm very actively doing nothing because I'm holding the space in which Simon can then do something if he wants to. And what Simon might do is then go back a bit, and then I might, yes.
But I might go, So I might ask him a question at that stage.
Yeah.
If he's going,
you might go,
So I want to carry it on.
Yeah.
So I'm asking him a question about.
Yes.
Is it really as good as that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So then you're starting to
make it into a conversation.
Yes. But the biggest discipline, I think, is not feeling the need to lead the conversation. It's
you're not leading it. What you're doing is responding to him.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you're responding to how he feels as much as what he's actually doing.
Yeah, so you're letting him know through your actions that you've noticed his mood, you've noticed how he is feeling, and that's just so important in that sense of being noticed. Yeah, very exciting.
Well, it's incredibly exciting. Again and again, people will say to me, they just look as if this is the first time they have ever had a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're amazed. Surprise is very common.
Mm-hmm.